You ready? All right. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, Zoom. This is my granddaughter, Lyric, joining me on H2O Mondays. And I love having my granddaughter with me. So we're all about the water. We know that H2O Mondays is water. And we went swimming today. What's your favorite thing about water?
Love drinking it. I love drinking it. I love taking baths in it.
Very good. Awesome. So it's for all those things we needed to be healthy. And it's also for habit two. Begin with the end in mind, begin with a win-win end in mind. And also for the two Harriets in my life, Harriet Tubman and Harriet Haynesworth. And we're going to go ahead and get started because my granddaughter and I are still playing, but we want to keep our broadcast consistent. So putting first things first, please go to myhappyacademy.org and you can read Mother Teresa's recipe for peace. And the world begins with peace to get happiness. And we've got a lot of disturbances in our forces. So please get some calmness in yours. Begin with the end in mind. Begin with a win-win, peaceful end in mind. July 1st, July 24th for putting first things first. And that, to me, that's putting your best self first. So consider this. What difference would a clear vision of your principle, my principle, it says, values, and ultimate objectives make in the way we will spend our time? And habit three is really all about how we spend our time. Habit one is be proactive. Habit two is begin with the end in mind, which is what H2O Mondays is based on. And then habit three is putting first things first. So that means whatever we paused for, are we putting that thing that we asked to begin with the end in mind, being proactive instead of reactive, because we all can be reactive. Everybody on the planet can be reactive. So some of the things that come up for me is I asked the question last week about my logo. So did anybody figure out in my logo what image is in the moon? Nobody responded. So my granddaughter is here and the birdcage has been playing and she noticed Robin Williams. And Robin Williams is also the star in a movie that she brought up because she saw him. And because she saw Robin Williams, I remembered the movie too. She said he was dressed up like
grandma.
like a grandma. And so that's Mrs. Doubtfire. And that came out in 1993. So the person in my logo is Robin Williams.
Yep.
And so nobody else got that like they did last week. That's your mom calling, so we can't talk to her yet. But in my logo is Robin Williams in the moon because I thought he was the happiest man on the planet. I really did. And he was camouflaging mental illness. And that's so important for us to know what mental wellness is for ourselves. So with that in mind, I want to read this. I love the seven spiritual laws. I usually talk about habit stuff, but I want to include the seven spiritual laws. So Lyric, let me read this to the audience and then we can come back together when we close. So as I read this, I want to show you something about this book. Mistakes will be made, so I don't think people need to know that everybody's perfect. This book is by Deepak Chopra, but with my granddaughter, all kind of new things happen, and I didn't know why there was a cover. There's a cover to this book, and this is the front of this book, and I'm going to be reading from it. But look, it's upside down. If I open this, the words would be upside down. So mistakes are made. I remember when I was getting ready to put Birds of a Feather out there, I have my copy that was had mistakes in it. So when I first got the original copy, if people can see it, there was an error. I'm showing Zoom first. Anybody who wants to join Zoom and pray. But see, there was an error there. So there's lots of errors in this book, but then there was a new book published before the book went on Amazon. So mistakes are made, and we can either live from our mistakes or we can find ways to correct them. So with that said, I like the law of detachment. I say Tupac, I like Tupac, but Deepak Chopra has 7 spiritual laws, and I like the 7 habits. So I want to read this for us today. It's the law of detachment. And if you would just bear with me, um, like 2 golden birds perched on a tree, the intimate friends, the ego and the self dwell in the same body. The former eats the sweets and sour fruits in the tree of life, while the latter looks on with detachment. And it says who it's from. This is the 6th spiritual law of success, the law of detachment. The law of detachment says that in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. This doesn't mean give up the intention to create your desire. You don't give up intention. You don't give up desire. You give up attachment to the results. This is a very powerful thing to do. The moment you relinquish your attachment to the results, combining one pointed intention with detachment, at the same time, you will have what you desire. Anything you want will be acquired through detachment, because detachment is based on the unquestioning belief in the power of your true self. Attachment, on the other hand, is based on fear and insecurity, and the need for security is based on not knowing true self. The source of wealth, of abundance, or of anything in the physical world is the self. It is the consciousness that knows how to fulfill every need. Everything is a symbol: cars, houses, banknotes, clothes, airplanes. Symbols are transitory, they come and they go. Chasing symbols is like settling for the map instead of the territory. It creates anxiety. It ends up making you feel hollow and empty inside because you exchange yourself for the symbol of yourself. I'm going to keep reading just this little part. Attachment comes from poverty consciousness because attachment is always to symbols. Detachment is synonymous, Detachment is synonymous with wealth consciousness, because detachment, there is freedom to create. Only from detached involvement can one have joy and laughter. Then the symbol of wealth are created spontaneously and effortlessly. Without detachment, we are prisoners of helplessness, hopelessness, mundane needs, trivial concerns, quiet desperation, and seriousness. The distinctive feature of everyday mediocrity exists in poverty consciousness. And I'll read one more paragraph and move on. True wealth consciousness is the ability to have anything you want, anytime you want, with the least amount of effort. To be grounded in this experience, you have to be grounded in the wisdom of uncertainty. In this uncertainty, you will find freedom, the freedom to create anything you want. And that's why I read that, because to create anything you want, for me to have a book and then have a corrected version of this book out here for everyone to buy, this messed up version could have been out there, and then I would have had to live with it. But because we can detach from the results of this, and the timing is always right, and natural laws work to our betterment, like we considered how we're spending our time, then we're always beginning with the end in mind. So with that said, remember to be powerful in your decisions. Know what happiness is to you. That's how Happy Academy started. I wanted to show you this, one of the things that I did when I was in college. And it's funny how things travel with you. I've been talking to my Delta sisters lately, and this is my paddle from pledging Delta in 1979. We were the fall line. We call ourselves Groove Line 79, and things just go on. So all my sisters have been reaching out, and now that some of them are responding about the book and the stories that I've been ready to write for the future with my granddaughter. I'm going to bring her back on screen before we close out because we have a book that we're going to write together. Lyric, you want to come back and say bye to the audience and tell them what the name of our book is going to be as we begin with the end in mind? What's the name of our book?
Magic, magic.
Very good. And tell them the premise of our story if you can tell them what it's going to be about.
Power.
I love it. So say bye to everybody.
Bye.
All right. So we're going to close out with something from the 7 Habits. I'm just open the book and see what it says, and we will continue our playing. Of course, your mom had it. So I like this. This is the 5 short stories and be proactive. I love this. I read this a lot because we repetitively do the same things. And if we expect new things, we have to do new things. And every day is uncertain. Nothing's planned. If we are living from our memory, we want the same things to happen, and we really want new things to happen. So these 5 short chapters, there's a hole in the sidewalk. One of my favorite stories to read beside my own is by Portia Nelson. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. It's not my fault. It takes forever for me to find my way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same sidewalk. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It's my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same sidewalk. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. Don't let it take 5 chapters for you to walk down another street. So go out in the world and play, live happy. Please donate to Happy Academy. Go to myhappyacademy.org. We're all about the teenagers because if we have healthy youth, we'll have a healthy society. And there's so much going on in the world. Just be happy. Let uncertainty be okay, because there's no such thing as security. Security is an illusion. Things change overnight. If the pandemic didn't tell us that, then we're still sleeping. Just depend on prayer constantly, or the law of nature, universe, whatever words that get you through. Our language really suppresses the reality of the realness of what we really are connected to, which is bigger, which is source, and all we got to do is watch nature. So have a great day. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you in a week. Oh, I do want to remind you that we do have Conscious Conversation on Wednesday that we'll talk about how I love this. So the sneak preview, let me go ahead and give you a sneak preview of what Wednesday will be about. My prayer partner, Ellen, will be joining me. So on Wednesday, we'll talk about, would a written statement in my life's purpose be valuable to me? Would it affect the way I spend my time and energy? So see you on Wednesday for Conscious Conversation at noon, and visit myhappyacademy.org. Buy Birds of a Feather. It's going to support so many things in the world. It's so brand new. I give thanks for God for letting me finish it. I was telling my granddaughter, never give up. Things get hard, but never give up. Have a great week. See you in a week. Bye. Or see you on Wednesday at noon. Bye, you two.